Every life is a story, even the ones we overlook. The quiet mornings, the late night doubts, the little choices that ripple into everything else. This is What If, a Revolution podcast that highlights ordinary lives that make up extraordinary stories. I am Diana, your host, and today we're asking something simple but deep. What if success isn't what we've been told? What if it's not a single definition you inherit, but a living definition? What if it's quieter, slower, something even invisible? Let's start with a confession. For a long time, I graded my life like a report card. The categories sounded grown up: career, money, health, relationships. But the feeling was the same as in school. Keep the average high, don't slip, smile for the scorecard. What I didn't realize was how hungry that scoreboard gets. The more I fed it, the more it wanted. I rarely paused to taste the winnings. I was always scanning for the next climb, then the next. It became a race with no finish. Higher, faster, more, and somewhere inside all that motion, I felt thin, exhausted, and a little empty. So I asked a harder question. Why does my version of success feel unauthentic? Not because success is bad, because it isn't. Titles, trophies, applauses, those can be meaningful for some of us. But they're not the only way. Success doesn't come in one size. It is tailored. I began to redefine it the unglamorous way, by spending time alone, letting myself be bored, trying things and failing without labeling myself a failure, caring less about what anyone else thought, and doing more of what lights me up. We're drenched with scripts, from school rubrics to TV storylines, marketing slogans to social feeds. Work hard, get the grades, land the job, climb the ladder. None of that is inherently wrong. It's just not a guarantee map to fulfillment. And when the script becomes a stopwatch, the joy leaks out. Under constant pressure, people don't just toughen up, they bend. They cut corners, burn out, or go numb. Not because they are weak, but because endless performance isn't the same thing as life. Here's what I believe now. There is no universal formula. The closest thing we have is knowing who we are and staying true to it. Resilience, discipline, persistence, and a healthy relationship with failure can help us, but the destination is personal. Sometimes the ladder we're climbing is leaning against the wrong wall. The only way to notice is to ask, is this even my what? We find the answers by finding ourselves, our values, limits, and rhythms, then choosing the kind of success worth pursuing for us. I had seasons where I felt unfulfilled, not because what I was doing lacked value, but because I was pretending to love the chase. Success had turned into performance, and performance has its own gravity. It invites unfair comparisons, makes cheating look tempting, and guarantees disappointment because we all excel at different things. I caught myself optimizing for external validation, the applauses, the nods, the "you're killing it." But I wasn't checking with the only person who has to live with my life every day, me. Sometimes success fits like a costume. It looks great, but it hides the person underneath. We live in an age of visibility, followers, likes, awards, metrics. Measurements matter. Data help us learn. The trick is remembering the difference between measurement and meaning. Numbers can inform us, but they should not define us. What if this obsession with performance and measurement is what has contributed to our society's anxiety and depression. Look at Anthony Bourdain. He embodied the version of success many dream about. He had a life of travels, food, stories, influence. He looked like freedom, and yet we saw how human pain can coexist with worldly achievement. Plenty of ordinary people feel lonely today, but because our era often swaps real community for digital proximity. Being visible isn't the same as being known. Success doesn't cure being human. It is only external. Money, status, optics. It's incomplete. It needs an interior life to match it. Peace, purpose, relationships, health. External success plus internal well-being, that's a fuller, more holistic picture for success. It is no failure that breaks us. It's chasing someone else's definition while ignoring our own. From the moment we are born, the world starts whispering what we should do, who we should be, and what we should value. Even without realizing it, families pass down their own definitions of success, wanting to protect us, to guide us, to give us a better life. Guidance is important. We all need direction, but guidance should be offered, not imposed. Because when protection turns into pressure, we begin to carry dreams that are not ours. We stop exploring and start performing, trying to please instead of discover. Maybe the best thing that we can do as mentors, friends, family members, parents, is to guide without steering and leave room for people to find their own version of success. I have to give this to my parents. They were not perfect. No one is. But they gave me room to explore. They didn't force a path or demand straight A's in school. And somehow, I loved school anyway. That early freedom planted a seed that later I had to go back and water again. When life started to feel off, like I was living in someone else's setting, that memory of my childhood, the feeling of freedom and exploration, told me, go back and find yourself. My illusion didn't shatter with fireworks. It dissolved in quiet. One still night, I realized I'd been sprinting so fast, I forgot where I started. I had success, but not fulfillment. So I began to let go. I didn't let go of my ambition. Ambition is the engine. It gives direction and energy. Ambition says, I want to build something. Attachment says, if I don't build that exact thing by that time and everyone doesn't clap, I am nothing. One fuels you, the other handcuffs you. When I stopped forcing the world's version of success, something unexpected happened. I didn't lose my drive. I found freedom. Freedom to explore, to make mistakes, to try and fail publicly without letting it define me. That freedom is one of the reasons this podcast exists. I started noticing small victories, cooking a meal without rushing, letting the quiet morning be the soundtrack, spending time with people who don't care what I do or where I live. They care about who I am. Creating without begging for validation. For example, this podcast. I don't know where it will go, but I'm doing it anyway, because I'd rather fall flat on my face than wonder for the rest of my life, what if I would have tried? In this process of rediscovering myself, I have learned to laugh again. Real messy laughter at myself too, which is healthy, by the way. I used to joke that my Google Calendar was my emotional support animal. I was scheduling happiness. Ironic. Now I'm learning to live it. Just in this moment, I feel free and I feel alive. I am still a work in progress. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have it all figured out and give you advice about how to live your life. We're here to explore, discover, and exchange thoughts. However, I can tell you that I am unlearning patterns that I wore for so many years. And I'm giving myself grace for not getting everything perfectly. I am choosing progress over performance and presence over a polished product. Changing and evolving is part of life. We shouldn't be afraid to try new things. This makes me think of James Patterson. Before becoming one of the best authors on earth, he ran a major ad agency. He was the CEO of J. Walter Thompson North America. Walking away from that kind of status looked wild from the outside, but he moved towards a thing he couldn't ignore, his calling. When people ask why he still writes every day, he puts it simply: I don't write for money. I write because I cannot not write. That is success, to me anyway. Doing the work your soul keeps asking you to do, even when the world is confused by your choices. And to be clear, I am not romanticizing irresponsibility. We all have bills to pay and basic needs to meet. But if we are going to work hard anyway, why not put that effort into something that truly fulfills us, even if we have to take a practical path to get there? And maybe that is what the next generation is teaching us. We often misunderstand Gen Z, their choices, their pace, their refusal to hustle the way previous generations did. But in their own way, they are rewriting rules we ignored for so long, especially around mental wellness, balance, and authenticity. Think about Simone Biles, a global icon, choosing well-being over automatic performance at the Tokyo Olympics. That was not quitting. That was redefining success as longevity, health, and wholeness. It said, medals matter, but so does mental health. That is a blueprint for courage in a world that worships output. The rebellion now is not loud or angry. It is quiet, deliberate. It is choosing peace over performance, presence over popularity, a life that feels good on the inside, not just one that looks good on the outside. So how do we redefine success? Maybe success isn't what we have been told or what trends are selling. Maybe it is not a race or a mountain or a number. Maybe it is a rhythm. The moment your values and your days finally agree with each other. Success changes with the seasons. In your 20s, it might be survival. In your 30s, it might be discovery. In your 40s, perhaps it's balance. In your 50s, maybe it's legacy. In your 60s, perhaps it's peace. Some of the most successful people I know would not make a splash on social. They're the quiet builders, growing food, raising kind humans, mentoring without posting it, making art in the margins. Success doesn't have to be loud to be real. Relevance comes and goes. Resonance lingers. So maybe we stop asking, what did you do? And we start asking, what makes you come alive? Because success isn't a trophy. It's a table. A table where we sit with who we are, who we're becoming, and realize we already have enough to build something beautiful. If you take anything with you from this episode, let it be this. Success isn't about the race. It's about the reason, the why behind your motion. So ask yourself this week, what does success look like for you when no one is watching? Write it down, not the post version, the true one. Let's redefine our meaning together, not to demonize success, but to deepen it. The world doesn't just need successful people. Success needs more fulfilled people. Thank you for listening to What If, a thought-provoking little revolution in your week. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it today. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep questioning everything you've been told.